If you wrote a scientific paper claiming that water physically bends wood, based solely on what you see, you would be laughed out of a middle school science fair. Yet, according to a sweeping new critique of modern academia, top-tier scientific journals are publishing the equivalent of this bent chopstick illusion every single day. We are currently living through a replication crisis. The scientific literature is flooded with fake data, statistical bias, and what some researchers are calling academic garbage. But how did the pursuit of truth turn into a factory of delusion? Act 1: The Alchemy of Data Piling. The alchemy of modern science. Think about the emergence of life on Earth. It was an incredibly slow, rare event with a massive, paradigm-shifting impact. True scientific discovery works the same way. It is slow, requires deep contemplation, and relies on serendipity. But modern academia doesn't have time for slow. The current publish or perish culture demands fast results. In two recent papers, researcher Yue Liu exposes a fundamental flaw in how we do science today. The modern academic system believes that a paper is only scientifically meaningful if it provides a massive amount of experimental evidence. As a result, scientists are forced into a kind of modern alchemy. They mindlessly pile up experimental phenomena and data, confusing doing busywork with doing science. But true science isn't just running experiments, it is the elevation of theoretical cognition. Act 2: The Delusion of Innovation. 95% academic garbage. Because of this obsession with data over theory, the publishing world has become saturated with junk. In his Substack article, The Delusion of Innovation, Liu argues that up to 95% of top-tier SCI papers are essentially useless. The demand for pure observational data without deep logical scrutiny leads to absurdities. Imagine a paper reporting that the sun revolves around the Earth, because that's what experimental observation from the ground shows. Or a paper written by someone inside a moving train, concluding that the train is perfectly still while the trees outside are moving backward. Or, indeed, a paper rigorously proving that chopsticks bend in water. These are real analogies for what is happening right now in top journals. Meaningless observational facts, dressed up in complex statistics, are drowning out genuinely valuable, disruptive theoretical research. Act 3: The Planned Economy versus the Free Market of Science. Why is this happening? Because modern scientific research operates like a planned economy. Grants and funding agencies demand predictable, short, flat, and fast results. But breakthrough science, those rare, slow events, cannot be planned by a committee or driven by a consensus. Just as a prosperous society relies on the trial and error of a free market, scientific progress requires an atmosphere of academic freedom. It requires theoretical logic, philosophical debate, and the space to wait for the accidental spark of genius. Act 4: Asking the Right Questions. The greatest leaps in human history didn't come from people who just gathered more data. They came from people who asked better questions. As Liu points out in his SSRN papers on the primacy of problem formulation, the engine of scientific progress is logic. Formulating a sharp, correct problem is vastly more important than experimental validation. But the current system has this completely backward. We worship the experiment and ignore the logic. Act 5: The Evidence Catch-22. The Catch-22 of Innovation. This brings us to the most dangerous consequence of empirical orthodoxy, the suppression of new ideas. Today, if you propose a sharp, groundbreaking theory, reviewers will reject it, demanding sufficient empirical evidence from already published literature. But here is the catch-22: how can there be published, recognized evidence for an idea that is entirely new? By demanding that all new ideas be fully backed by old evidence, the establishment effectively bans revolutionary thought. In a series of critical philosophical reviews, Liu explains how this obsession with empirical data is actually a regression into dialectical materialism, masking itself as scientific integrity. Conclusion and call to action. Science is not a data collection contest. It is humanity's highest form of theoretical reasoning. If we want to solve the replication crisis, if we want to stop funding academic garbage, we must restore the balance. We must value logical scrutiny over pixel hunting, and theoretical brilliance over mindless experimental grinding. If you want to dive deeper into this fascinating critique of modern academia, I highly recommend reading Yue Liu's papers in his Substack articles, including Why Reviewer 2 is Actually Your Best Friend and The Illusion of Scientific Integrity. All the links and DOIs are in the description below. Do you think the publish or perish culture is destroying science? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who cares about the future of human discovery. Thanks for watching, and keep asking the right questions.